What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today, this has been highly requested, and I've actually shown this in videos in the past. However, I wanted to do a video just dedicated to this topic, and that topic is mobility and my active recovery routine. What I do throughout the week to promote active recovery through all my training sessions. So within Embrace the Suck training, and if you haven't downloaded the app yet, the link is in the description box below. Get started for your first month for $1. The hybrid style training program, which is running and weightlifting, has 2 dedicated days built specifically for dedicated mobility. Now this routine can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. It really depends on how much active recovery you require, how your body's feeling, how you're recovering. So we're gonna dive into what my routine looks like, the equipment that I use, and how I use that equipment. So let's dive into it. Now, the intent of a dedicated mobility day, promote active recovery. You're gonna conduct some myofascial relief, some self-massage, increasing blood flow, moving to those muscles that are feeling sore, fatigued, tired, and tight. So our dedicated mobility day, I like to think of this as peeling away an onion. So there's layers to it. Those layers start on the lower body, work up then to the upper body. I start at my feet, I start at the bottom, work my way up. So the first thing I'm gonna be doing, and I'll show you how to do this, is some foot myofascial release with a lacrosse ball. And then, like I talked about, like this onion being layered. That first layer for me is like foam rolling or using a massage gun, just going over like a once over everything as like that foundational piece of active recovery. Then we're gonna move into using the So-Right, which I'll show you, it's one of my favorite pieces of equipment, and then some static passive stretching. Passive, not active. Passive is just allowing your body to open up, breathe, focus on your breathing, and fall into that position. So after lower body, move into upper body, same thing, the foundation, foam rolling, self-massage using a massage gun possibly, the So-Right on the upper body, and then static, passive, and active stretching for the upper body using some resistance bands. But like I said, the intent, myofascial release, breaking up anything that's really tight or tender, and increasing blood flow to those muscles. Equipment, easy, simple stuff. This is an investment. You buy this stuff once, you pretty much have it for years and years to come. Number one, lacrosse ball. This is very essential for what I'm about to show you, for myofascial release on the bottom of the foot or anywhere, upper body, lower body. You gotta keep in mind when you're doing some sort of myofascial release, like I'll show you here, we have different levels of foam rollers. This one is soft and it's a wider base. This one is harder. This is like a PVC pipe with some piping in there. This is a more narrow base. And then you have the lacrosse ball, which is like a very narrow base. The reason I'm talking about like the size of the base is because if something's wider, bigger surface area, a little softer, it's not gonna get as deep in there. So if you're new to this kind of stuff, maybe you wanna start with a foam roller that's bigger and softer, because like when I first started foam rolling years ago, first time this thing touched like my IT band or my quad and I rolled on it, I was like, holy crap. Now, something like this, I don't even feel it. But I will feel something like this, which is, it's harder, it's more of a narrow surface. So if I put this on my IT band or my quad or my hamstring or my calf and I roll on this, I'm gonna feel this a lot more than this. So there's like progressive steps. Maybe you wanna start something bigger and softer and then move to something more narrow and more solid, and then get to the point where you're using something very, a small surface area that's hard, and you're rolling on this, on either like your chest or again, your IT band, your quad, your hamstring, your glutes. Like these are really good for glutes. So some sort of massage pieces, self-massage being foam rollers, lacrosse balls again. Another piece that I really love, they actually sent this to us a while ago and the whole team's been using it, the So-Right stuff. So So-Right pieces are these plastic pieces. Originally, this is like the original piece built for the psoas muscles. So you lay on the ground and you work the psoas muscles, which can get really tight during endurance training, any type of training really, but especially running. This thing I like to use actually for scraping. So I will put this on the ground, which I'll show you here shortly, and I will use it to scrape areas of my body because again, the surface area is small and it's a very, very hard object. So I can get a lot of pressure on areas that are tight and tender and really break it up. So they have like different attachments type. Like this is the original piece. I use this the most. They have this smaller one, which I will lay my spine and back on, and I can get areas that are easier to reach with a shorter piece. And then there's things like self-massage rollers like this, which I can come in here and get my IT band, my quad, my hamstring. Thing about this though, you're manually applying pressure with your arms, or someone else is. With stuff like, you know, the foam rollers or the So-Right, I can put all my body weight on these things where I'm applying more pressure. That's what I love. I want to make it hurt. Like, I want to get in there in those tight, tender areas and really break it up. Last but not least, certainly, is a massage gun. So I like to pair this with foam rollers as like the base, the foundation, the first peel of that onion. And I will always use a massage gun before going out on my morning runs or my afternoon runs, just a once over to loosen some things up. This brand right here, they sent this to us, man, almost a year ago maybe now. It's by this company called Shogun. Shogun is the brand, and this attachment is my favorite attachment here because I can really get into like pieces of my legs, my calves, glutes, really anywhere. This is the best attachment I found for a massage gun. And they actually gave us a code to use for you guys because the whole team here at BPN loves it so much. So code BPN, I will also have this in the description box below, that you can use BPN for 15% off. So you can get this massage gun after the discount for like $131. So these are the pieces that I use. Now I'll show you how to use them. Step number one, we are peeling the onion away. Right now it is 6:59 a.m. and me and Yoli are filming this video here at the warehouse gym. I already ran my 7 miles this morning, and before I did those 7 miles, the only thing I really did was some static passive stretching and massage gun. So I do use massage gun a lot, either massage gun or foam roller. So this is the way I start. I've already done my myofascial release on my foot. I'm gonna throw this up at the highest setting. First I'm gonna hit my calves. I'm just gonna kind of hit everything from all angles. We're gonna hit the outside first, and I'll hang out in here for a little bit, and I'll hit the back. I'll get right behind the knee back here. That's always tight and tender for me. And I'll kind of just roll it down, wait until I find a tight, tender spot, and just hammer down on that bad boy. And then I'll do the inside like this right here. So I'll hit the calves first, and I'll come up. I'll do a once over on the quads, right in the middle. On the outside, right along my IT band. Your IT band runs from your hip to your knee. And that typically gets pretty tight and sore for me sometimes. If you ever have any knee pain, sometimes it is associated with a tight IT band. So keeping your IT band loose with like foam rolling or massage gun stretching, it can be really healthy for runners specifically. So I'll hit outside, top, inside with massage gun, and then hamstrings as well as glutes. So this is like a once over, and each one of the things I'm talking about will take you about 10 minutes. So focus on doing like your massage gun or your foam roller for like 10 to 15 minutes on your legs, like a once over. This is the first peel of the onion. Now, the trick is get a lacrosse ball, keep it in your freezer. Keep it in your freezer, and then when you need it, pull it out. So like I said, the first thing I start on are my feet. We're gonna do some myofascial release on your feet. Especially like if you have flat feet or really tight arches from running, what you do, pull this out of the freezer. You're gonna do one foot at a time, anywhere from like 1 to 2 minutes. So you're gonna take off your shoe, take the frozen cold lacrosse ball on the bottom. You can do it barefoot or with a sock on, and you're just gonna roll this on the bottom of your foot. Hold on to something so you have your balance, and just the intent of myofascial release, all this stuff, foam rolling, massage gun, lacrosse ball, So-Right, you're gonna find these areas that hurt, they're in pain, they're tight, there's knots. And once you find that area and it's tender, work it out a little bit. So we're just gonna roll both feet, 1 to 2 minutes each, breaking up some of that tissue, and conduct myofascial release on the foot. Now for the foam roller, I'll start quads, then calves, then hamstrings and glutes. I want to get as much pressure on this thing as possible. So I'll put all my body weight on it. I will take my other foot and drive down into the back of my legs. So all of my body weight, all my pressure is directly over the massage roller. And I will just find those spots. Yep, there was one right there. And I'll find the spots and I'll work it. I'll hang out there for a little bit. It's not gonna be comfortable. It's gonna be a little painful, but self-massage is essential when you're doing a lot of training. So we'll do it once over, like I said, quads, side of the IT band. I'll come back here. I'll hit the hamstrings, the calves, and then the glutes. So calves, hamstrings up like this. Get all that weight up on there. Sometimes it's easier even to get the hamstrings. I'll show you like this. If you come over to a chair, throw in the chair so you can get elevated a little bit, like this. Yep, that's so much better than being on the ground. And roll it like that. Even for your glutes. Glutes are great using the lacrosse ball. And you just one glute at a time, one butt cheek, just rolling right on that thing. Trust me, if you've never done this kind of stuff, you're gonna find those areas that hurt, that are tender. You can work them out. This will make a massive difference to your training. Now we're gonna take it one step further and we're gonna dive a little deeper with this thing. I haven't really seen someone use it this way on their lower body, but I tested this and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. So let me show you the trick. This thing has little sticky pieces on the bottom, so it's gonna stay, but I still hold one side with the other hand. So I hold the hand here and I'm using this as like a scraping tool. And when I had IT band issues, this helped out a lot. So I'll put it on the side of my leg here and I'll just roll and scrape down. Woo! And you can really get deep into every part of your lower body. And this is one of my favorite ones to really just break up some more of those areas that are just tender and tight and sticky. Whoa! I swear that wasn't so right.
Why are you the way that you are?
So that's what I'll do with this piece of equipment. All over my legs, everything lower body wise, I'll just scrape. So I do 3 passive static stretches for my lower body. And these are the ones. So first I'm gonna hit my hip flexors. I'm gonna find an elevated surface like a chair or bench. I'm gonna go over 1 foot at a time. You're almost like in a lunge where one knee is on the ground, your other foot or other leg is at a 90-degree angle, bent at the knee. And I'm just going to slowly breathe deeply, pull this glute and pull this hip forward. You're gonna feel a stretch right here in the quad, right here in the hip flexor, and then take it one step further, same leg that is being stretched, same arm, you're gonna bring up, lean back, and you're gonna activate that stretch a whole lot more. And you're just gonna find that position there. You're not gonna yank on it and pull it too hard. You're gonna get here, breathe deeply, and just open up. Allow your body to just open up. So static stretching, it's gonna be 10 to 15 minutes. This is the first stretch that I'll do. Number 2, we're gonna work the glutes and the hips a little bit more. So we're gonna get down here, one leg at a time. You're gonna bring one leg out, you're gonna hold it and position it. Now, the intent right here is you're gonna feel all of this back here open up. You're gonna feel your glute open up, you're gonna feel your hips open up, your hip flexor. You're gonna put pressure on this leg to hold it there, fall back, work this position a little bit. This is one of these stretches too, these movements where you're gonna be answering some emails, because when you come down here, slowly work to get to this spot, answer some morning emails or do some work on your phone while you're in this position. Just like I said before, open up, breathe deeply, let it sit in. You're not yanking down like, trying to stretch it out. No, just open that stuff up right there. Now for the last one, we're gonna hit some hamstrings. Let's do it. 2 ways to do this bad boy right here. One, you can do your traditional, just fall forward, feel that stretch in your hamstrings. You're not grabbing your toes and yanking again, like I said, falling into it. That's one way to do it. Or elevated surface. This is another thing I like to do. In the kitchen in the morning for my runs, I'll do my myofascial release with the lacrosse ball, And then, don't tell Steph, I'll put one leg up on the counter and I'll sit in this for a little bit and I'll just let this open up. You're just gonna get there, sit, fall into it. I'll feel a stretch in my calves, back here in my hamstrings a little bit. So you're gonna hit that and I'll come directly into a calf stretch after that. So I'll grab the table again and I'll just lean into my calves. My calves get so tight. If you're a runner and if you're doing running in this hybrid training program, you're gonna get tight calves. Your calves will get tight from running. So just keep them nice and loose, fall into it, take a step back, roll your ankles down a little bit, go back into that stretch. And that's what I do for lower body. I'm peeling that onion away. Like I said, we start with the massage gun, the foam roller, then I get a little tighter in there with maybe a little cross ball or the so right, and then I do some passive static stretching, and I'm good for lower body. Spend about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even more, just on lower body. There's days where I'll spend 45 minutes on lower body, depending on how tight and tender I am. All right, so the shirt's coming off for this one because, well, what happens sometimes is the foam roller will get stuck in my shirt and it will pull my shirt up, and essentially it's like I'm rolling like a piece of dough in my shirt. It's weird. So foam roller, we're peeling the layers of the onion away. We're doing our base. So I'm gonna start with my back. The intent of what I'm doing upper body wise is I'm gonna hit some triceps, I'm gonna hit some chest, some back, and some shoulders. So what I'll do, I'll put it behind me. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna bear hug myself. Just like this, give myself a big old hug. And I'm just gonna roll lower, upper. Like I said, lower, I'm getting sweaty in here. Lower, upper, and then we're gonna work some lats too. So the reason you're bear hugging yourself is because you're just creating a nice surface area for where you're rolling. So you're gonna do lower, upper, and lats. And that's a great start to it. Next up, we're peeling that second layer away of that onion. Now we're gonna get a little bit more nitty gritty. You can use a so right or lacrosse ball for this kind of stuff. If I'm on the ground, I'm pretty much going to be working my shoulders, my back. I'll show you how to use a wall for your chest or the front of your shoulders. So really on the so right, again, bear hug yourself, and you wanna find these tight, again, tender areas. I'm not really gonna be rolling on them. I'm just gonna find them, and I'm gonna sit on them, and just take some deep breaths when you get on those tight, tender areas. Down here in the lats, I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna sit on it. I'm just gonna open up into it. That's what I like to do with the so right there. Now with a lacrosse ball, this is one of my favorite things to do. A lot of people get tight shoulders, especially with overhead pressing or any type of pressing movement with a dumbbell or a barbell, specifically barbell work. Now, to open up these shoulders, something I used to do when I was into CrossFit a lot, because I was trying to increase my snatch ability. You're gonna throw that lacrosse ball kind of right in between the shoulder blades. And that's gonna create a leverage, kind of like a rise between your back and your shoulder. So we can get some leverage right here. Oh yes, in the shoulder, and we're gonna just try to work this around. You're gonna feel the activation of this, because what's happening is these muscles are tight and they're restricting movement, they're restricting mobility. So we wanna help break this up to increase our mobility, limit restrictions in the body so we can perform these movements more effective and more efficiently. We're gonna get here, we're just gonna chill out a little bit. This will be great for your overhead pressing movements, for your bench press, just taking care of your shoulders. This is one of my favorite ones. One of my favorites and one of my least favorites. Yes, that's the stuff. Now, the way we're going to use the wall, because we can just get a little deeper into there other than the ground, chest in front of shoulder, throws the cross ball right on that wall, and I'm just gonna find these areas again, front of the shoulder. I'm just gonna roll it there. You can even find a spot, just lean into it. That's how I like to get the front of the shoulder and that chest, really break that up. So for some just static passive stretching, I like to first work my chest. So I'll just get a door frame. A lot of times I'll use a door frame, stand in the middle of the door frame, get my arm at a 90-degree angle from the base of my body. I'm just gonna fall into it a little bit, opening up that chest, not too much, just falling into it. Turn your head away, deep breaths, just get a nice stretch right in here. And then after that, what I'll do for my shoulder, resistance bands. Resistance bands are another great piece of equipment to have sitting around the house, because what you can do, you can wrap it around anything. You can wrap it around a tree, a pull-up bar, your garage door opener, like whatever you want, wrap it around something. And I can just use this to position my arm to get a nice deep stretch in my lats here, in my shoulder. We're just gonna move around, let it open up. I like using the word open up because we're not grabbing something and, like I've said, ripping it, like, just so much pain. No, this passive stretching is just meant to get in positions where it feels tight. You hang out there a little bit, take some deep breaths. When you take deep breaths, maybe you fall into it a little bit more. You fall a little bit deeper into it. So we're gonna work the chest, we're gonna work the shoulders, we're gonna work the triceps here. So keep my arm right up against my head, falling into it, trying to push my elbow back. I'll get that right in the tricep, that'll hit the shoulder, that'll hit the lat. And that's like the last piece of what I do for my dedicated mobility days. We start at the bottom, we work our way up, we finish lower body, and we get to the upper body, we hit all the tight areas. Like I said, it's peeling that onion away. The intent of these dedicated mobility days, it's one, increasing mobility, however, with really the intent of myofascial release, breaking up these tight, tender areas to increase blood flow to promote recovery as we are taking days off or assist in these heavy training days when we're running and weight training. So, all part of the Embrace the Suck training app. Like I said, link is in the description box below if you guys are interested in joining. Your first month is just $1, but it's literally the training program that I'm doing by incorporating running and weightlifting. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It is a highly requested one. Add some more active recovery into your training programs and you will massively see a benefit. So we'll see you guys in that next video. As always, go one more.